Fire! Found my old phaser toy. Hey everyone, Andrew back with Star Trek Enterprise 1701E update number 2. I've got some progress to show you. It's been about 5 months since I started this, and I've been in Window World, Window Land for all that time. I am close to being done drilling out and cutting out all the windows. They have taken forever. So I've got some progress to show you. I'm going to look at some lighting and talk a little bit about the next steps I'm going to be moving on to. But before I get into that, I've got a few model kits I want to show you. I've picked up some from eBay, from my local model shop, and something very special and rare to show you as well. So let's get started. Sit back, relax, and grab a coffee and we'll get started. Alright, first up on my kits that I have are the Deep Space Nine series. This is really special. This is the actual Deep Space Nine station. The model itself is about that big around. I'm not quite sure what the size is. The diameter measures over 16 inches, the box says. And so it is factory sealed. It is the original release of Deep Space Nine. I built this, again, when I was a kid, and just built it as a static model, didn't even paint the whole thing. I'm really looking forward to eventually down the road doing this model. It will be a lot of window drilling, but it'll only be circles, because all the windows were circles. In the Deep Space Nine series, we also have the Runabout, and I'm looking forward to doing this with the full interior. I'm going to purchase the full interior kit that's available as an aftermarket and do the whole interior. That's going to be really cool. And then I also have this Cardassian Galler class ship. Now this is actually being re-released by Round 2 Models that is re-releasing a pile of the AMT kits. And this is an original release that I found on eBay, and I'm assuming that it's probably pretty close. I can't imagine that they have updated a whole lot. There is a decal sheet available to do all the weathering and stuff like that. That could be interesting to look at. But I think it's pretty much going to be the same. I haven't heard of any adjustments or any improvements on it. So those are just a few of the multiple kits that I've been able to purchase over the last 6 months to add to my collection. The next thing I have to show you is really quite special. I showed you in my first update for the Enterprise E that I have this clear kit, Enterprise D. I went out and purchased a second one because I was intending to do both the Enterprise D Galaxy class and a Nebula class ship. So from Dawn's Light and Magic, I have gotten the conversion kit to turn the Galaxy class into a Nebula class. Nebula class would have been seen for the first time in an episode of The Next Generation called The Wounded. First time we actually meet the Cardassians as well, and Captain Benjamin Maxwell goes on a vendetta to destroy as many of the Cardassian ships as he can. And the ship that he is in command of is a Nebula class. Looks a little bit different, the upper pod is different. Next time we see it is when Data takes command of the USS Sutherland, in the second part of the episode Redemption, and that's where you get his fire. You know, when they're trying, when the second command is questioning him, and he's not listening to Captain Picard, and he's going on instinct, and the Romulans are attacking. So that is the Nebula class ship, and this is really quite cool. The new engineering hull is done in clear resin so that you can light it really easily, which is nice. If you're unfamiliar with how a Nebula class works, you've got a slightly different engineering hull than the Galaxy class, and then you've got a sensor pod that goes on top. You've got this modified warp nacelle pylon and battlehead section that holds the nacelles. It goes on right about here. It'll go on much better once all the extra pieces are off. The saucer section goes here, and the mission-specific pod, in this case I believe this is a sensor pod or something like that, goes in like so, essentially. And you've got the saucer here, and it's basically kind of a compact down version of the Galaxy class. It was always one of my favorite ships when I was growing up watching Star Trek The Next Generation on first airing. And I was pretty young when that was going on back in the 80s. These episodes might have happened in the 90s, I can't remember for sure. So that comes from Dawn's Light and Magic, and I've actually purchased a few other things as well. I have a brass etch kit that goes along with both the Enterprise D and the Nebula class starship. It adds some phaser strip detail, it adds details for the emitters for the transporters, and a few other things, which is really nice. The bridge on the kit, on the AMT kit for the Enterprise D isn't quite accurate, and so Dawn has some more accurate parts and that are also clear, so I picked up, I'm still waiting on one bridge because I ordered them and one didn't come in. And then on the model, there's a window missing underneath here, and actually it's not even showing up on the box because this is probably a photograph of the model, and it looks like somebody just painted it on here, but there's a window missing on the model, and so this is a replacement window. We'll cut it out, put it in, and make it a little bit more accurate. Also picked up these things. These are replacement flux chiller grills and Bussard collector pieces for the warp nacelles, which will make lighting the warp nacelles a lot easier. There's a there's a resin piece that's in here, tinted blue, so when I put the lighting underneath, should glow on the flux chiller grills really well, and so I'm really pleased with how those turned out. Also, this white sheet, which you're not going to be able to see, are the Galaxy class Aztec panels. There's 2 sheets of them. I'm not even going to bother trying to get you to see it because the camera will not pick it up, but all the individual pieces that will go on for doing the Aztec painting are here. I like the look of painting better than doing the decals. The decals that you can get for this are really the wrong color for what it appears on screen. Any of the models I'm doing, I'm going to go for what it appeared on screen. The filming models are always a little bit different. Lighting, film stock that they use to capture images of the studio models always make them look a little bit different. So I'm going for screen accuracy, not filming model accuracy. The filming model, the large model that sold at Christie's auction for like $500,000, originally had green Aztec detailing. If you watch the back on the new remastered version that they have on Netflix now, you can actually see the green Aztecing on that ship. It didn't appear that way originally, just because of the way the film stock worked. So I'm going for screen accuracy, so it's going to be the different shades of gray. When they repainted the Master, the largest model for doing Generations, they went and did more of a blue patterning, and that's what most of the Aztec decals that you can get, or decals that you can get, show. I want to do the Next Generation TV show, not Generations movie, so I'm going to be doing the more grayscale Aztec, and so I'm going to be doing the painting on that, which is going to be loads of fun, lots of little panels and stuff like that to put on. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And I'm going to use the positives on one of them and the negatives on the other, so that I can use one set of Aztec masks and be able to do both ships, which is really a cost-saving thing. And I'm hoping that that's going to work out. So I'm really excited. This is going to be the next project I do next year, because it's going to take me all year to finish the Enterprise E. Fire. Found my old phaser toy. Alright, this is the Enterprise E. I thought I would show it all laid out, all the different parts. It's actually, there's not a whole lot to this model as far as the number of parts. And there's the upper and lower primary hull sections. There's the engineering hull, 4 parts for the warp nacelles. There are some miscellaneous pieces here. Some sections go into the pylon, some filler spots, a tractor beam. These are the pylons for the warp nacelles. This is the area for the shuttle bay. On the back, the captain's yacht and the area around the deflector dish, and this is the panel that goes on the bottom underneath the shuttle bay. You've got the various clear pieces here, so you've got the flux chiller grills for the warp nacelles, these would be the impulse grills. You've got the shuttle bay area, the deflector dish, and these are for the Bizarre collectors. There is a Paragraphics kit that I'm seriously considering getting for this, just to give some more detail to the kit. Then there's just this piece that goes on the back. It's got a few windows that need to be cut out, and there's a stand that I'm not going to use. I'm probably going to do a nice wooden stand, highly polished wooden stand, because I'm going to need a rod that will allow me to put wiring through. This is just a solid rod that comes with the kit. I'm actually surprised it's not the dome-shaped round 2 base that comes with it, but it is a Starfleet insignia. Maybe I'll put that on top of the wooden base. I'm not sure, but it's going to be routed out inside, probably a solid piece routed out so that I can put all the boards and components inside the base, so that if anything goes wrong with the boards, components that run the LEDs and everything else on the ship, that I can go in and I can just replace that without having to cut into the model. Don't put your boards inside your models. That is a pro tip from Mr. Simon Merks. And I think that is super important. My progress, and I will do a close-up on this so that you can see really well, but I have all the windows done on the upper primary hull, the lower primary hull, and most of the windows done on the starboard side of the engineering hull. I still have the port side of the engineering hull to do, and I have a few windows on here to cut out. The big windows I don't think I'll be able to do because they're actually in a spot that is meant to be glued in place, but I will see what I can do. I have been using, the process I'm doing is a little bit different than what I actually showed in the last video. I am using my pin vise, and I am doing as many holes in the window as I can, top, bottom, and if I can get in the middle. Then I'm using a trusty number 11 blade, and I'm cleaning out the extra material with a very sharp number 11. I didn't actually end up needing to use the file because I'm finding that using a really sharp number 11 blade is working really well. I've had some people suggest to me that I use some low rotation powered drills to be able to do this. And thank you for the comment on my video. My concern is that it won't give me the precision that I'm looking for, and so I'm willing to take the time to use the pin vise and just do it by hand. I'm a stickler for the detail and for the perfection as much as I can get, and so I'm willing to take the time that's necessary to do that. I've tried to find videos of people doing this particular model online on YouTube, and I haven't found a lot. The ones I have found really have made a mess of the windows, and I'm going for as perfect as I can get with the skill level that I'm at. I saw one person drill big holes in. I've seen people melt the plastic. I've seen uneven windows, and I'm trying to see just how clean I can get them, and hopefully I'll be able to show you with some close-up shots here of how that worked. So let's take a close-up look. Here is a close magnification of the windows, and you can see they're not exactly perfect, but compared to what else I'm seeing online, they are pretty good. I'm just going to readjust and show you those small windows on that ledge there. Alright, this view gives you a look at some of the windows on the edge. My finger is really out of focus, but you look at these tiny, tiny windows, and the tiny, tiny windows on the on deck 2 and deck 3 up there. Here's some more of those really tiny windows. You've got the observation lounge. You've got, let's see, deck 1, 2, 3, 4, deck 5 or something like that there, where you can really see those tiny windows. And if I was to zoom out, you'd see just how tiny those are. And they came out so nice. Now, as I've mentioned, I am not an expert. I am figuring this out as I go. And you can see that some of the windows don't quite line up along the bottom, and I'm going to look after that when I paint. But also, I've got one boo-boo. Out of all the thousands of windows that are on this thing, I've got one boo-boo. I'm just going to grab a paintbrush here that I'm using for clearing out debris, and you can see the one boo-boo is right here. And that was early on when I was working on them. What happened is that I got the X-Acto knife in a little bit too far, and it broke the connecting plastic between the two windows. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to use my microcrystal clear, fill that in, and I'm going to touch that up by hand with paint to recreate that window ledge there between the two windows. So I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. I was a little disappointed when I did it because I was going for perfection, but this is as perfect as I can get it. Some of the windows that gave me the hardest time were these really tiny small windows right along the edge here. And those are going to be super hard to actually get lighted properly because of the seam of the top and bottom sections of the primary hull. But I've done those in on an angle so that hopefully the light will come through. Moving on to the bottom of the primary hull, we have the slanted windows you can see here and along here that were cut in. Also, there is almost a straight, slightly angled wall just both here and on the inside here that have these tiny windows. And they've been all cut out. They were quite challenging to get there. Let's see if I can just quickly adjust this for you so you can see the ones over on the other side. I've had this on manual focus, so bear with me while I get those ones in focus here. There you go. You can see those. And those are on the opposite side. Quite a challenge to get those tiny windows in there, and they are quite tiny. Moving on to the secondary hull, this is the starboard side, which I have almost completed. And again, really tiny windows. They've taken quite a bit of time. And you can see they're not oversized like many that I see. And they're really as perfect as I can possibly get them. And there's loads of them here. Let's see if I can move this and have it stay in focus for you. All the way down here, you can see up top here, these ones have the holes drilled in, but I haven't finished cleaning them out. And these are underneath here. Where is my pointer? There it is. These windows underneath here, they're going to be a challenge to actually get lit because of the support for the nacelle pylon that goes here. And so they are pretty much done as accurately and as cleanly and as straight and everything like that, as perfect as I can possibly get them. So those are the windows. That's the progress I've made on the windows so far. Next up, I want to show you something that I'm experimenting with, and appropriately I'm doing a Enterprise under the command of Picard, so I've got my tea, Earl Grey, hot here. I am experimenting with something called an LED filament. There are light bulbs that use these LED filaments, and I've picked a whole pile of these up from a supplier in China that I purchased off of eBay. And they took a long time to get here. A lot of them came broken, but I got a whole pile of them, so for a good price, so not a bad deal. A lot of times people are using the LED strips, like the LED tape, to light up the warp nacelles. I've got the chiller grills here. I've not done anything with them yet. I've got the nacelles here. And essentially, the nacelles come in two pieces. The chiller grill sits on top, somewhere around there. And one of the interesting things about this kit is that the kit has this solid part right where the flux chiller grills go on top. And with the LED tape, I definitely would have to cut this out, and then I'd have to do a whole pile of frosting and light diffusion so I don't get hot spots. Because you need room to be able to put the LED tape in, and you need to be able to have space to do the diffusion so you don't get these beads of light, these spots of light. You want an even glow. So I'm trying out something new. And I haven't seen anybody do this in a model yet, so maybe I'm innovating, I don't know. I've seen some guys just playing with them on YouTube, but not actually installing them in a model. So I'm looking to possibly chain 3 or 4 of these together, however many it'll take. Let me just see here. If I do 1, 2, 3, so that's 3 would be how many it would take to do a line all the way down the flux chiller grill. And they're very small, but they're long. And the advantage is it should give one solid beam of light instead of several hot spots. I've tried this out. I picked up these EL inverters on eBay, again, very cheap. I think I paid 9 something Canadian total for the pair of 2 of them. I picked up 2 so that I could use one, pull it apart, experiment with it, and I'd have a backup in case I broke or destroyed the other one. But also, I'm wondering if it's going to take 2 of these to do both nacelles. I'm going to have to play around with that. I'm going to solder some of them up in strips of 3 and see if I can run 2 strips of 3 off of one EL inverter and have the right brightness out of it to do the warp nacelles. But I just want to show you here. I've got this kind of just taped up for a demonstration, and let me just get the contacts onto the wires. And I'm going to just turn this on. There we go. You can see that's quite bright, and it's a solid bar of light. And I think that is going to work so well on the flux chiller grills. And if you have 3 of those, it should look like one uninterrupted beam of light. Now obviously I'm going to have some blue. I'm going to have them colored blue, and I think the top, I'm going to have to look at some reference material, but I think the very top piece is a dark color, and there are some Paragraphics brass etch pieces that you can put on here for more light blocking and more distinction there. But I think that 3 of these together are going to do an amazing job. Again, nobody seems to have done this yet. I emailed Simon Merks from the Kit Factory just to ask if he'd done anything. He's like, to be honest, I use the LED tape. I haven't had time to play around with them. If I do, I will let you know. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, email me on that. That was fantastic. These EL inverters have 3 settings: solid on, slow blink, and fast blink. And so they're not going to be in the cases here when I put them into the model, and hopefully I'll be able to have, I won't have too much drop in strength of the electricity reaching this. Again, I'm learning. I don't know all the proper terms. I don't know if it's the amperage or voltage or whatever, but I'm just a little concerned that if I have a long cable that it won't have enough juice to reach the light. I'm going to play around with that because I'd really like to put the inverter in the base with everything else. If I have to put it in the kit, I have to put it in the kit, but I'd much rather put it in the base. I'm getting no heat off these, which is perfect for a model kit. There is a slight whine. I'm not sure if that's the LEDs or the inverter when they're turned on, but I'm sure that when it's encased in the model, you won't really hear that all that much. So I'm really excited. I think 3 of these together in one strip, and then what I'll do is they'll be soldered together, and I'll encase it in clear shrink tube along with the wires on each end, just to give it some extra strength and stability. I think that will work phenomenally for the warp nacelles. I'm really excited. So yeah, LED filaments. I got these in from China. They're really cheap. if you get them, expect that they're going to come broken. Many of them are going to be broken. But I expected to order 20, and I ended up getting 20 packages of 5. So I've got loads to play around with, and I can always get more from China if I need more. So that is a little bit about some lighting experimenting that I've done. I've just picked up a variable temperature solder kit today. My parents got that for my birthday because it's coming up, and that's something that I've needed. I've also got a bench power supply coming that I purchased off eBay. A little bit sketchy. It was only $16. We'll see if it works. It hasn't come yet. It was supposed to come by July 10th, and nothing has come yet. So I might have been taken, but if I was taken, I was only taken for $16. But I'm going to be held up on some of the lighting until that happens. But before I get to too much of the lighting, I've got some paint work to do. Because I'm lighting the interior, all the windows are going to be lit using LED tape on the inside. Everything's pre-resistor. It is fantastic. On the inside, I'm going to sand where all the windows were, because although I've done as much work as I can to clean the edges of the inside of the windows, there's still bits of fragmented plastic around the edge where the bit's gone through and just kind of left some debris on the inside, so I'll sand those down. And then I'm going to do a coat of black paint on the inside to light block, and then on top of that is going to be white paint, and that'll just help the light to bounce around inside and get to all the little nooks and crannies. Yes, I cut out all the windows. I know that on a Starship, people are not going to be in all of their quarters at all times, because if you're working, you're not in your quarters, and your lights aren't going to be on in your quarters when you're not working. On the Enterprise D, maybe 60% of the windows were on at any given time, and that holds true to this. But I'm not going to cheat and only drill out the windows that I want lit. I want every single window, whether it's lit or not, to have the microcrystal clear so they look all the same. They all look like windows. I think it's cheating out if you only drill the windows that you want lit and then paint black on the windows that you don't. I don't really think that looks all that good. I'm still playing around with how I'm going to do the windows. I'm going to do microcrystal clear inside, but when I do that, I'm not entirely sure. One thing I played around with is doing all my light blocking and then doing a base color, after my pre-primer, primer, all that stuff, do a base color coat, and then use tape just to clean up any of the mislengthened windows. Then put the microcrystal clear in, then do my detail painting. That way I can avoid all the windows. And then on the inside, do that before assembling the two halves. And then on the inside, paint over black on the windows that I don't want lit. Then assemble everything, and then I can do all my touch-up paint, detail paint, everything like that, and it won't affect the windows. These windows are too small really to mask. I don't want to get into that. I don't think I do, especially on the tiny, tiny, tiny windows. And so I think that might be the plan I'm going to go with. I'm not entirely sure. That could change moment to moment when I'm thinking about it, laying in bed at night, and I come up with these ideas, and we'll see how well they work. I'm really excited about how it's turning out so far. Really kind of excited about the LED filaments. I'm looking forward to getting my power supply so I can get working on some of the electronics on the inside. They won't be going in until at least the inside paint is done. I need to finish off my windows before I can do that. But things are going to start moving along a lot quicker. I know it's been 5 months, but I've been in window world for a long time. This is not my job. This is a hobby. I do this in my spare time, and so it will take as long as it takes. But I hope that you enjoy the process along the way. So that is everything that I have for you tonight. If you like what you see, please subscribe, tell your friends, and I hope you enjoy the journey. I'm learning, I'm just figuring this out, and again, if you have any tips or tricks for me, you can leave them in the comments below. But yes, please hit the subscribe button, share this on social media, and I would love to just be able to bounce ideas off of people. And if nobody's watching the videos, I don't have anybody to bounce those ideas off of. So please share, and that way I'll get experts giving me all their tricks and tips and stuff like that. So for now, this is Andrew signing off, and we will see you in the next episode, next update. Have a very good night.